You are listening to Making It in the Toy Industry, episode number 281.
Welcome to Making It in the Toy Industry, a podcast for inventors, entrepreneurs, and makers like you. And now, your host, Azhelle Wade.
Hey there, toy people. Azhelle Wade here, and welcome back to another episode of Making It in the Toy Industry. This is a weekly podcast brought to you by thetoycoach.com. Now, if you have ever built a fort for yourself when you were a kid, for your kids, maybe for yourself when you're an adult, and you've been through the whole fort building frenzy, trying to get pillows to stack and sheets to cover, and you thought there has to be a better way, you are going to love this episode. Today, we're talking to a Toy Creators Academy Accelerator student who is channeling her love of architecture, sustainability, and creativity into a great product, a fort building product for kids and families. This episode, again, is part of our special coaching series where I sit down with students of the TCA Accelerator and we dig into what's working, what's hard, how to move forward. You're going to hear us tackle some real world challenges that they're facing right now, but we're also going to celebrate their wins and their progress because these people are not just starting out. They've really made some impact in the industry. Now, at the end of this episode, you are going to hear them pitch their product to you so you can learn more about it, join their website, join their community, and of course, we're going to talk about our amazing Toy Creators Academy community along the way. My guest today is Carrie Shaked, the founder of Design Laughter. Carrie is an architect, an artist, and a mom of 3. She was tired of cheap plastic toys cluttering her home and falling apart, so she decided to use her design skills and her passion for sustainability to create a modular cardboard building panel system that kids can use to construct forts and anything else that they imagine. It is a beautiful blend of STEM learning, environmental responsibility, and creative joy. Whether you are a builder, an architect, a parent, a sustainability-minded entrepreneur yourself, you are going to love Carrie's story. Let's get into it. Carrie, welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. I love your product. So before we get started, tell us what's the name of your toy brand?
So the brand is Design Laughter, and the product line that I'm launching is called Dwellings.
Dwellings. Love it. So today we are going to have our 3-part episode. Part 1 being our coaching session. We'll talk about things going on in your business and Design Laughter right now. We're going to dive into part 2 after that, where we want to celebrate wins and progress so far. And then part 3, I want to focus on your brand, spotlight it, talk about it a little bit. But just so that everyone can follow along, Design Laughter, as I said, is a cardboard building kit. And if you're listening to this episode and you happen to be by a computer, be by your phone and able to do so, go to designlaughter.com right now, because I'd love for you to have a visual of these cardboard dome building kits so you can understand what they are as we're talking through this. I mean, it's not indescribable, but it's, I don't know, it's so beautiful once you see it that I think you're really going to want to see it as we walk through this. Okay, so Carrie, so to start out, for part 1, for our coaching session, I want to know what was going on in your life or your career when you decided to join Toy Creators Academy, and what made you feel like it was the right move at the time?
When I joined TCA, I basically just had a few sketches of my toy ideas and some paper prototypes. I wasn't sure which ideas to run with first, and I really wanted to learn how to take these ideas from paper to reality. I knew nothing about manufacturing or marketing. My expertise was in architecture, where I worked for many years designing homes and commercial buildings. I knew the design process, of course, how to make scale drawings, both in 2D and 3D, but I didn't know how to contact manufacturers or how to find them or how to market my toy products or even how to build a brand.
Right. So why did it feel like the right time to dive into TCA? I mean, often when I hear people that have such big, busy lives, they're hesitant to take on a program like that because they think it's going to be too much. So I'm curious if there was like a lull in your life, if somebody was seeing what you were working on and thought, oh, you really have to take that to the next level. Like what was the final straw that said, I'm going to do this?
Well, so I just finished remodeling our landscaping. It was a huge project and it took a lot of my energy, and I really felt settled at my house, and I had time to really devote to this project that had been brewing for a long time, and I just had always wanted to take it to the next level, and I didn't know how.
Right.
I also think that getting some coaching and help for my ADHD was really the biggest catalyst, because I didn't know really how my brain worked until that point and how to work with my brain.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of neurodivergent people end up joining TCA, and I find myself having to figure out the best way to adjust my method of teaching to work for them. And it's been really interesting. Like there are a number of people who will get on a call with me after joining and be like, Azhelle, I'm neurodivergent. Here's what I need from you, which is it's a great learning piece for me. I sometimes think I'm neurodivergent, but I don't, who knows? Now, before you joined, did you feel like you were a toy person, like you fit in this industry? Or were you ever worried that your idea wasn't good enough?
I never really doubted my idea in terms of like if people would want it. I doubted whether I could make it real, market it successfully at the right price. But I didn't think of myself as a toy person or an entrepreneur for that matter. I'd always been an employee. So this was like a really big change for me.
And how was that shift? Like when you shifted over to this new mindset, like, did you like it or did you hate it? Do you hate it?
There are parts that I really, really enjoy and parts that are scary and hard. It's just been exciting to try. I felt like if I didn't try, I would regret it.
Okay. I'm curious, and I think I already know the answer, but I'm curious. What part do you hate the most of being an entrepreneur?
The finances.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say the marketing.
Marketing too, but yeah, finances and marketing, like anything that involves spreadsheets or dealing with numbers or, and also being on camera.
Now, I'd love to know, when you joined TCA, one of the things I talk about a lot is what your path is in the toy industry. And I do that because depending on what your path is, you are going to follow different steps. There's some things you don't have to do. So are you on the inventor path or the entrepreneur path?
I'm on the entrepreneur path. I'm not trying to pitch my ideas. I'm just hoping to build this brand so that I can launch more ideas in the future, because I picked this particular product because I thought it was the easiest to bring to market. And I really have a lot more ideas that I want to bring to market that require more engineering, more of a team. And so I needed to learn the process with a simple product that I can kind of manage myself. Then I'll be able to hire a team and develop some of the more difficult, challenging products.
As a toy entrepreneur, you are designing, developing, and manufacturing a product to sell to consumers and or to retailers. Really smart to start with a paper-based product. People often come to me and they say, oh, Azhelle, I have an idea for a doll and I want it to be fully custom. And then I have to tell them the cost of making all those molds. And I try to encourage people to start with a paper-based product because that is currently the most affordable product to create. Funny, though, that you're making like the largest paper-based product that a store will probably carry. But it is still paper-based, so it does leave you a lot of options. There is potential for you to manufacture even in the US, although it would make your product much more expensive or a lower margin for you. It's still technically possible, which isn't the case for many other types of toys and games. So I would love for you to give us your elevator pitch for Design Laughter. How would you describe it, either Design Laughter or for Dwellings, the actual kits underneath Design Laughter? How would you describe it if you only had 30 seconds in an elevator with someone who could change your business?
Design Laughter dwelling kits are like giant magnetiles kids can actually climb inside. Made from durable, eco-friendly cardboard, our panels and Velcro strips let kids build forts, geodesic domes, castles, anything they can imagine. They're creative canvases for design, storytelling, and hands-on learning. Kids can decorate their spaces, take them apart, and rebuild something entirely new the next day. It's open-ended play that grows with your child and inspires real-world problem-solving, collaboration, and joy. With architect, design, beauty, and engineering, their structures will stay up until they're ready to build something new or you're ready to reclaim your living room. And the best part is everything packs away flat into the convenient storage box that your kit comes with. No small parts that get lost, no mess, no fuss.
Love it. I love the visual that you started at the very beginning with magnetiles, which someone in the toy industry knows what that is, and giving them a visual to connect your brand with before they even see your product is great. I almost want a visual to connect my brain with store flat, how flat? Like store flat enough to store under your bed or store flat enough to store, I would love to have more visuals that define factually how this thing functions or how big it is, but that was great. Well, you kind of answered this in the front end, but hardest part of launching your brand?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely struggle with the business side of things. I'm very introverted and I love being creative. I love drawing things, building things. I even enjoyed conversations with factories discussing the details of production. But what I struggle with is like hiring help, managing finances, filming and editing videos for social media. You know, I'm kind of the last of the people that were born before internet things. And I struggle sometimes with all the technology stuff, social media stuff. It's kind of hard for me.
It is. I mean, it's hard for me, and I was born in this era. It's hard to do so many things.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like being a solo entrepreneur, you have so many different hats to wear. And I definitely struggle with some of these hats more than others.
And when you're first starting, you like right now in my business, I look at it as more of like seasons. Like this season I'm marketing, this season I'm building. But when you're first starting, you kind of have to do it all at once to start. I remember I sold my product before I built it when I was, and that's what a few TCAers have done, like sold the product where they've developed it with a factory, but they haven't manufactured it because it's just the time spent of marketing the product and then the finances of investing in it. To do the marketing well, you can't also be in the midst of production. So people are launching on a Kickstarter, getting the revenue, and then launching the product once they have the funds to do so. And then they can now stop focusing on marketing and focus on fulfillment. Do you have a plan to do that? Or was your plan to produce yourself with your funds that you already have and then launch and market and sell?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping to do in the coaching session today, was kind of game plan what strategy best fits my brand for launch. You know, I kind of have in the back of my head this idea of like doing a Kickstarter, getting the, you know, funds to buy an initial stock purchase and ship them out. And just do, you know, sales through my online website. But I really don't know what other paths there are to go about like launching, and if I should consider, you know, something different or just do the Kickstarter.
Yeah, let's jump to the coaching session then. I think, well, I have a couple more questions. What do you think your next move should be? And what do you think is holding you back from doing that?
I definitely need to finalize pricing and, you know, obviously move forward with the first production run. I don't have a production sample kit that works that I am happy with yet. The most recent samples I got from Mexico were not using the quality of cardboard that I need and that I know works. So the prototypes that I created were laser cut and I hand creased the panels, and that's not a viable, you know, mass production strategy. So I looked into die cutting and I found some factories that do this, but you know, getting the right quality of cardboard and the right bend in the cardboard, that's really important. So I'm getting some samples from a factory I'm working with in China. I just paid for the samples and they're working on them as we speak. So I'm really excited to see what they will produce because they're going to do the full kit, the box, the instructions, the Velcro strips. And I've given both factories the cardboard specs that I need, but it's one thing for them to actually understand what that means. And at least the China factory, I sent them samples of the cardboard and they are, you know, hopefully copying that.
Well, I have had the experience in the past where we couldn't really get the production quality because they required us to invest. I don't remember if at the time they wanted us to invest in tooling or they just wanted us to invest in buying the material outright. So they were using whatever material they had on hand, which wasn't the same. And the only way that we'd get to see it is if we invested in the run. And with a company the size of the company I was working for at the time, it was like, yeah, whatever, just invest in the run as long as the die line of the product looks good. But if in doing what you're doing, I would probably ask if they could send me a sample of the material that they're planning to use, even if they're not able to make the production sample out of it just yet because they have to order a minimum quantity of it or something. I wonder if that's the issue with Mexico or if they just don't have access to the kind of cardboard that you want.
So they're looking into sourcing the right kind of cardboard.
Oh, so they don't even have it.
My contact says that he's struggling to find a source of that.
And that's the hard thing, even with going outside of China, like as we're looking at other countries, China has been doing this for so long, they found all of the sources, and now we're asking other countries to catch up. So that's the hard part. Okay, cool. So today, the challenge we're going to work through is which launch path is ideal for you. So is it the Kickstarter or crowdfunding path where you get people to invest first and then you pull the trigger on manufacturing after? Or is it you pull the trigger on manufacturing and then you try to sell it on the back end? When you were talking and when I'm looking at the picture in your background, I think you have a really unique opportunity to do something that's very different and stand out in maybe a retail space. So have you heard of Neighborhood Toy Store Day?
No.
I'm sorry, it's Neighborhood Toy Store Month. Neighborhood Toy Store Month is an event put on by Astra, and a lot of Astra stores participate. So Astra is a specialty toy organization, and they actually struggle with getting people to participate because usually the marketing for this event starts very late. So it'll start in like late October and then no one really has time to scramble and get involved. But what the purpose of Neighborhood Toy Store Day is to get people in the neighborhood into these stores playing with product to encourage them to buy that product. And your product is the perfect product to create a big moment in a store. So what I'm thinking is, would it be worth like creating a plan for what you could do for Neighborhood Toy Store Month for, let's say, 25 stores and reaching out to 50 stores and saying, hey, I have an idea for Neighborhood Toy Store Month at your store. We're launching a new product. This is the product. This is what our retail price point is going to be. And here's a rendering. You could probably build it with ChatGPT, or you can actually build it, take a picture of their store from Google and Photoshop in your toy. And here's a look at what our kits could look like in your space. And it would be a place where kids can literally play in and play around this structure. And then depending on what kind of risk the store is willing to take, like there's some stores that will do essentially like, what do they call it? Like not commission, like where they take your product, they'll hold it and you only get paid if they sell it, or they'll buy a small quantity and sell it to their people. And then they'll have your product in the store that people can demo and practice with. So I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to do a soft launch promo of your product in that way. It could be a really good way to test your product with your potential consumers, also show retailers how much people love your product, and have a small batch of your product ready for sale in various stores so that maybe you only pull the trigger on manufacturing, like, I don't know, we have 25 stores and we do like 5 in each store, like maybe you only manufacture that many. And then, and it's kind of like your soft launch before you do your big, let's say, Kickstarter or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Would a store have enough floor space to display something like that?
Not all of them, but it'd be worth looking into. Like, I know, like, for example, there are several Learning Expresses of various sizes. That's a huge store. There's one called like the Wonderland something of toys. That's a huge store. So I would look up all this, like if you're a member of Astra, you can get into the Astra membership list and you can sort by retailers, and then you can look up all their stores and just search their stores on Google and get an idea of like their floor space. But Neighborhood Toy Store Day is this special event where they intentionally want like events that fill the space in their store for kids to engage with. Like some of them dedicate space outside their store, some of them dedicate space in their store. One store owner, I know she had like a second floor space that was an event space where people would do stuff there. So they're planning on giving up floor space for this specific event. Mm-hmm. That's where I feel like you could use it. What's the smallest footprint of your smallest Bellin kit once built?
Well, I mean, you could do a small, I think they're like 20 inches by 20 inches cube. Like that would be really uninspiring, just a cube. But like you could...
Well, the smallest inspiring.
You could do something like this, which not exactly sure. I would guesstimate that would be about 4 feet cube.
A 4 feet
48.
Cube. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's worth a conversation because it's usually heavily marketed by Astra. They go on local TV stations and they talk about Neighborhood Toy Store Month, and the whole goal is to get people out to these stores. But from my experience in the years that I've seen it, it never quite lives up to the hype of engagement that they want it to. Like they don't have that many special events as they want. So I think it's just worth a conversation. If there's stores that really want to create a buzz in their community, I feel like your product could do that. So that's the
I
first
think
thing.
this could even like live on the sidewalk, like in front of a store too.
I know. It's November, so it depends on the weather, but I agree.
Here in
I
California, that would work.
Oh, right.
Probably.
Yeah. So in California, it would work. And you know what? It is best to start local. Like they love like, oh, I'm a local toy creator in your area. And like, no, that's a great point. Yeah. Like that could be a great way to get people into their store. So that's number one. And then number two, I think it just depends on how much you have to invest in this brand. What I love about a Kickstarter or just a pre-order on your website is that it gets people excited and there's a lot of build up to this product getting launched. And people are showing interest and buying in before they ever get it, which just shows you how many people you really have that are willing to put down money and if this is really going to work. So even if you didn't do Kickstarter, I would say a pre-order plan would be ideal.
Yeah.
And what's going to be the retail price point of the opening price point item?
Around $100.
$100. And then the higher price point item?
Around $150.
Okay. Yeah, I would see if we could do a pre-order. And then like if you did a pre-order, what could be the lowest special price that you could say, if you join our pre-order, you're going to get 10%, 20%. How low can we go for the people that are going to order ahead of time?
Probably like 20%, I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that would be fantastic. So have you started building your email list? My favorite question.
I think I have like 9 subscribers.
Oh no, why only 9? How have you gotten them?
I think Facebook, but I am terrible at socials. You have no idea.
Like how so? Like what did you do on Facebook to get the 9?
I think I posted a couple things into groups, some Facebook groups of like my free paper dome kit thing. And that got a couple people. No.
The way you're looking off into the distance, but so this is another reason why I really like the idea of Neighborhood Toy Store Month for you, because you feel like somebody who would do so much better in person.
Yeah.
So like I could imagine you there and people engaging, and maybe there's a QR code that they scan and they sign up and like you don't have to do social media. Another event that's also in November, it's actually in Chicago, is Shy Tag. And there is a similar item to yours, but yours is I would say a higher end version of it. It's a fort building kit, but they're all cubes and it's very Minecraft inspired.
Okay, yeah.
But
I'm thinking I will go to Maker Faire, Bay Area, this September. And that's another like in-person live event and get people to play with like the mini kits. And then I can have the prototype larger kits to play with as well. And then get people to sign up on the list while they're there.
And you must give people a reason to sign up. Like join VIP for 20% our first drop or first order, or you know what I mean? It has to give them a financial or some sort of like, I'm going to get a free thing if I sign up for this. And at Shy Tag, so this other company I'm talking about that's kind of modeled after Minecraft, I've seen them at Shy Tag twice now. The first year, their setup wasn't that great. The second year, what they did is they had like a big, like a huge castle that filled most of their booth space. I don't even think they had a table. This like giant cardboard castle of squares filled their entire booth space. And then they had a section where kids could play and break things down, but that castle stayed up the whole time. So, I mean, I remember thinking like, oh, feels very different from everything else here, and it stands out a lot. So think about that concept where your booth, the centerpiece of your booth is like a big structure built, and then kind of everything is built around that instead of being built around a table or a backdrop like most booths are.
Yeah. I was thinking that I could have like a few pedestals with some of the, like the mini kits and then the big, structure, and people can like look at and play with them.
And they could go in, or like, could you have the big structure and then the mini kits inside the big structure for them to play with? So there's really like an invitation, like to go in this giant
structure.
Yeah,
you could do both. Yeah.
And the mini kits, are you going to have them for sale there at Maker Faire?
I'm thinking for like the first few people that sign up, they get a free mini kit included with their big kit.
A free one. Oh, like if they order the big kit.
If they order the big kit, then they would get a free mini kit.
Are you going to collect pre-orders at that time?
I don't know. Should I?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you should. So wait, when is Maker Faire?
September.
Okay,
But
that's
I don't
soon.
know if I'll be able to set the pricing for sure by then. I mean,
The factory's still building it now. Yeah, that's a very good point. But you do, so like when you offer people things, if they're interested in putting money down, you've got to take the money at that time. Or, like once they go to, or say it's like, I don't know, say it's like December when you finally launch, they won't have the tactile memory
yeah.
anymore of like being at your event and saying like, oh, I want this thing. So I would probably take payment then, unless I could just sell the mini kits at that point and like say sell the mini kit and give them a percentage off of the big kit when it launches. So you're taking in some revenue and then they're getting something that makes them want to come back, because the first time you launch, they'll get 20% off, but only for that first drop.
Yeah, I don't think the mini kits will be ready.
Mm.
I just started working with China to develop that product.
Yeah.
So they still have to figure out the tooling and everything.
I
I
see.
did contact a US manufacturer, and their
Yeah.
pricing was so high. It was like $15 a kit for
And the
the
mini
mini
kits
kits.
are like how big? Just the people that are not watching the video.
Yeah, it's like one of these, basically.
Is that about 12? It's like 8. Is it 10 inches tall once built?
It's maybe like 12 inches by 8 inches tall.
Okay. 12 inches by 8 inches tall. And then the corresponding larger version of that would be.
So the big dome is like 4.5 feet tall by 5.5 feet wide.
Ooh, that's a big product.
It's very, very.
You're getting your
And
money's
you can
worth.
see the adult standing behind it.
Oh, I didn't even see that was an
And
adult
there's
back there.
kids
Oh,
inside.
wow.
There's like 4 kids inside.
I'm wondering, like, I feel so. One time I went to the Science Museum of Oklahoma for a talk, and we ended up getting a couple of TCA's product placed in the store there because they were looking for product at the time. I wonder if there's opportunity for a product like yours with various museums, because you could potentially offer the kit that they build with and then a version of that that's sold in their museum store as well. So we talked about Cass Holman. Cass Holman was actually part of this exhibit. She had an entire exhibition with her rigamajig, and they just had a bunch of rigamajig parts in a room and stories about her. And then I don't know if she actually sold product in their store, but that's a possibility. And there were other parts of this museum that had other building kits, like foam building kits. So I wonder if museums also might be another option for you, where you're
I
going.
definitely
Yeah.
think museum stores and children's museums would really enjoy the product. I'm just nervous that the durability isn't there for like commercial use, or I guess institutional use, like schools and I've shied away from looking at like plastic corrugated boards because the sustainability aspect of it. I really want to position this brand as like an eco-friendly brand, as something that doesn't create more plastic waste in the toy industry. And I don't know if there's like coating options that could like make the product, like I know that there are cardboard boxes that get used for shipping like vegetables and stuff that are wax covered, and they obviously are more durable for like wet goods, and I think that would be an option. I just don't know how to like find a manufacturer that has dealt with like wax coated cardboard or could wax coat.
It'd probably be someone who does food products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the people that make those boxes, it's like a very set production, like they're not making toys, and it's very siloed. I've tried to contact several box manufacturers in the US that obviously deal with cardboard and large sheets and bending them, but none of them seem to want to delve into this kind of a product.
Yeah, and it is kind of complex. Well, anyone listening, if you do have a contact that could create like kind of a wax coated die cut cardboard shapes for this project, please do reach out to Carrie. We'll put her contact info in the show notes. But I don't know, I'm thinking of this from a museum designer perspective, as I did study that originally before toy design. And I think if I were given this product and I were told what you're saying, not sure about the durability, but we still needed to figure out a display for it, my thought would be, could the larger panels be a preset and predefined space? So maybe there's one kit that we get 3 times and we design 3 different structures out of it. The kids do not take that piece apart, but they can go inside of it. And then the exhibition is more about the education of how these parts can make all of these different shapes. And then maybe the pieces that they play with are the mini pieces, or maybe it's some sort of, I don't know, sometimes museums just have visual signage that explain these things and that lead someone to go to the gift shop or scan a QR code to get their own or get more information so that they're not taking apart in the individual pieces. So I just wonder if there's different ways to pitch and present that. And then I would render something and pitch and present that to various museum heads, because sometimes they do need a new exhibit focused on a specific topic. And I feel like architecture and a little bit of math is what you could teach through this product.
Yeah.
So
you could definitely do some geometry lessons. Like this is
right.
A really neat platonic solid, and then the geodesic domes are another common one, both in schools too.
Yeah.
I've reached out to one of my kids' teachers about possibly doing a lesson in the classroom around the geodesic geometry, and they get to build the kit. And I've seen online that some schools will have their kids build a geodesic dome, and they, each have to cut out a certain number of triangles and squares, and then they'll do things like project star display on the inside, like a planetarium.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was thinking that I probably should develop a kit that has no cutout, so you could like make it a solid structure and project stars from the inside.
So I feel the most important thing right now is to build your audience, whether you do that through email, Facebook, social media, like Instagram, TikTok, or other social media, but you have to build the community of people that would invest in this. And I'm wondering if if the community that would invest in this would be primarily teachers or other educators or museum professionals or individual parents, like families. Do you know who would be your primary target consumer?
I'm assuming parents, like geeky kind of parents that are into making, DIY stuff and building things with their kids, and the kinds of kids that parents that buy like Mark Rober kits in the engineering space. I think that is probably the primary market. I think schools and museums may be interested. I really don't know that market as well, but I don't see them as being like the primary driver.
If it's primarily parents, then we need to have a contact list of parents, whether it's email or text phone number or social media. So how are you planning to build that other than the Facebook group posts?
Well, I do have a social media. I mean, I do have Instagram and Facebook, and my plan is to launch like YouTube videos and post like how to build various builds on YouTube and kind of showcase the product there and talk about sustainability and other, related topics.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram. Have you made one of those videos yet?
There are some shorts on Instagram, I think, where I have like some cute music playing while my toddler climbs in and through.
Did you post them on YouTube yet? Can I see them there?
No, there's nothing on YouTube yet.
What is holding you back from doing the Kickstarter route? Like, why are you considering perhaps the other route where you invest and you just hold on to the inventory until you can sell it?
I'm waiting to get production prototypes that I'm confident with and can set the price.
Are you still like considering either option? Because your question was, which path is the best for me? So are you still considering the other option?
I really need to raise the capital before
Right.
I can make an initial stock purchase.
Agreed.
Unless, retailers are going to buy it, or museum stores or other, I still need to do some sort of pre-sales or Kickstarter to raise the capital.
Yeah, even retailers, especially specialty retailers, and especially a product of this size, they're going to buy so few that's not going to bankroll you into being able to manufacture the first run. So yeah, I think it's really smart to go with a Kickstarter route. So let's flip the script a little bit. What are some wins and successes you've already had with this product?
Yeah, so paying for the full production kit from China, I think was a big win. Getting to that point, getting just the laser cut prototypes and starting doing product testing with real people, that was exciting. I think a lot of things that I never thought I would do, contacting foreign manufacturers and getting over my fears of reaching out and taking those leaps. Those are big wins for me.
Really? You didn't think you were going to reach out to foreign manufacturers?
I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
I mean, it took a while to even like find manufacturers that I felt confident could make this. It's funny having a background in architecture and knowing what's physically possible. And it's another thing, like finding people that can actually make that work.
Yeah. Or that don't like look at you with three heads when you're like, no, this can work. And they're like, no, we don't know how to make that work. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the benefits of like when you're in a big company is then they would send you to China to show them like this is how it would work, but you don't have that luxury. So you kind of have to either ship a bunch of examples to them or hop on a bunch of Zoom calls to explain. And then with the language barrier still, sometimes it's impossible.
Yeah, I'm excited. The China factory contacted me and reached out. There's going to be a representative here in the US later this month that wants to meet with me. And I'm excited to see them in person. And yeah, those are big steps.
What is really exciting, I think, for independent entrepreneurs right now is that factories are losing a lot of business because of tariffs, specifically factories in China. And because of that, I think they're paying more attention to startup companies. They can't fully rely on their main clients who were sending all of their largest orders, because those clients are intentionally resourcing to cheaper countries for cheaper manufacturing. Whereas the startup companies like us, we don't have the luxury of training a whole new workforce. So we need a workforce that knows how to do what we want to do. And now they're starting to get hungry for business. And now I think it kind of creates a perfect storm where it's still more expensive. So there is still competition happening there. But you actually have a shot now. Like you have somebody who knows how to produce this product and wants your business. Because like what I would say a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, they were like, no, actually, we're just too busy with our main customers. Our lines are full. We have no time for you. So it's kind of a good time for an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I think even with the tariffs, their pricing is so much better than what I've found, that it's still like a good deal.
It's still competitive, which is crazy, So has your idea changed or evolved at all since you joined TCA? And what about the program helped that evolution?
Yeah, I think the product testing helped to get them in the hands of real people and film people actually putting things together. I learned a lot through that process, and it's helped me kind of evolve the attachments and how they go together. It helps me develop this mini kit so that I can help kids use their ideas, like building in a small scale before you build large kind of helps you think through your ideas. And it's, a common tool for architects, obviously, because you can't always just build a building. You gotta design it first. So things like that. I've, changed like what's in a kit based on some of your feedback on the pricing and price points and what might fly in the marketplace. So they've evolved. Yeah.
And the mini kit came about because we were trying to figure out something free to give people that signed up for your email list, right? And we were like, could you make like a paper version that they could print out? And then you, like a week later, were like, I think I should sell this. This should be like a separate product.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a printable free on my website. It doesn't have, the really cool cutouts. You could take an X-Acto and try
if you
to
were
cut
really,
those.
you were really dedicated. I had nothing else to do.
But you can like print the pattern and cut out, the individual panels. So the panels are the same size as the printable on my website. But
so there is a printable version of Carrie's dome kits. You can experiment with it before you invest in it, which is going to be potentially great for retailers. I think these mini kits, once you make them, would be a great thing to send to retailers as a test this product see if it works for you and could potentially work for your consumer. And we have a much bigger version. I would love to dive into our product spotlight, give your product some time to shine. So tell us more about your brand and who it's for and what makes it so special.
Yeah, so these kits are for creative families, educators, and kids of all ages who love to build and imagine and design their own worlds. Our kits combine architecture and engineering and sustainability in a way that empowers kids to think like designers and build something they can really live in, not just play in. They're beautiful, durable, and open-ended, designed to grow with your child's imagination. So the basic kit includes 15 squares and 10 equilateral triangles. Some of the panels have beautiful cutouts that allow light to filter through, and others have doors that can swing open and shut. Our dome kit includes all the panels of the basic kit, plus 30 additional special isosceles triangles that allow you to build an actual 2V geodesic dome. The completed dome stands about 4.5 feet tall and about 5.5 feet wide. There are also unusual antiprism shapes like twisting towers you can build with the dome kit.
How long would it take to build the basic dome?
The dome takes about half an hour with 2 adults who kind of know what they're doing. So It's not a quick system. I mean, it's quicker than like cutting your own panels and building it.
Right.
But it does take a little bit of dexterity and time to thread the Velcro strips through the connecting flaps, but it's well worth it. The structural stability you get with that system is really impressive. Like my toddler can run into it, it doesn't fall down. Like these things really stand up, and that's what I really wanted, was something that like you can sleep in and have a sleepover with your friends, and it's not going to collapse around you.
Right.
So that was really important.
What inspired you to create this kit?
Well, building forts with my kids, pulling out the blankets and the chairs and the couch cushions.
Oh my gosh.
Cutting up cardboard boxes, but it's, super messy and time consuming. And they usually ended up looking like some homeless person is living in my living room. And I thought that there had to be a better way. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if kids had like these pre-cut cardboard shapes and you could just easily attach them together and build like you do with Magna-Tiles and just live in them.
I didn't actually even think about the fact that you're helping parents by creating something more beautiful to look at. Like, it's like a more beautiful fort that their kids can live and play in for a week or 3 days, however long they keep it up, and it doesn't have to look like Skid Row or like
yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
have to look like...
It's like this sculptural, piece in your living room that, you're not afraid to let your friends come over and see.
Right. Yeah, and it could get even more. I want to ask, like, what is the coolest thing you saw in your play testing that people did with it? Like, did they shine lights through the kaleidoscope like cutouts that you have? Did they put pillows or sheets in an interesting way around it or over it? Like, were there things that people did with?
I mean, immediately kids just want to drag in their blankets and pillows and their loveys and their books, and they just want to decorate their space. It's really cute how much they like. There were a few families that like cried when I had to take them apart and like bring them home.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, I mean, kids get really attached to these spaces. They really, they really want to play in them for a long time, and that's where this is different than I think a lot of the building kits that are fort based is. Like there's tubes that you can throw a sheet over and kids can make some crazy thing.
Yeah.
Or there's even some cardboard panels that you put these little foam pieces in and you can kind of put it together, but they don't stay up and they're very boxy and they look really janky. And so, it doesn't create that inspiration for inhabitation.
Oh, inspiration for inhabitation.
And decoration, like putting up fairy lights and hanging, a scarf through the, top of it so you can put your loveys in a little hammock and, put up your little art on the walls and, or even draw on the panels if you want.
I love that about it because it is so structurally sound and it is so beautiful, the dome shapes and then the cutouts that look like kaleidoscopes, but it still feels unfinished in the most beautiful way. Like you feel as a creative person, I feel like I'm meant to add to this. Like,
Yeah.
this is a base and I'm meant to do more.
This is your creative canvas.
Yeah.
To put your own unique spin on. And
Yeah.
it's not me telling you what to do. It's your blank space to really make it your own.
You see, like, some of this needs to be in your messaging. I feel like your messaging sometimes gets a little technical.
Yeah.
Like a little
Too
technically.
nerdy.
Yeah, you're like an architect. You talk like an architect. So yeah, you need to like chat GPT and say like, make this more sexy. Like make this more less like I'm talking to a 10-year-old and their parent, and less like I'm talking to an architect. But yeah, some of that needs to be in your language, because I can't tell. There were some words you were using and I was like, I don't really know what that means, but I'm hoping through context clues I will. What was it? There's some word you used. Geodesic.
Geodesic?
Yeah, I was like, I don't really know what that means. I don't really.
Yeah, so geodesic domes were created by Buckminster Fuller, who's an architect. He actually didn't invent them, but it's what you think of when you think of a dome. It's multifaceted triangle shapes that make up like a spherical space. It's dividing a sphere into triangles, because a sphere doesn't have any flat places. It's all points.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to build something spherical shapes, you have to turn it into a faceted, flat pieces, panels that connect. So,
yeah, that word doesn't sell it for me. That word, even now that I know the description, that word doesn't make me want to buy it. It like year-round igloo might make me want to buy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like something that I'm connecting it to an experience that my kids already know and love and are interested in, but can't quite embrace. But now they can, because this cardboard version of it exists. Yeah, I feel like it needs to get a little bit more sexy. And then
I could just say dome.
Yeah, but that's like so simple. Like there's another layer. And I feel so like with your YouTube videos, I had this conversation recently with Manish, and he was leaning very much into education for like, because he has a board game centered around a sport that isn't as popular in the US. So he was centering his focus on educating people about the sport and then selling them the game. And when you were discussing your reels, it sounded like, and I couldn't play one because I'm not logged into Instagram, but it sounded like your reels were going to be focused on educating how to build. But as you were talking, the things that struck me from your playtest sessions are how people make the space their own. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is it more important to lean into that? Because that's the emotional connection that people would have. Like, is there a video format that's repeatable and easy that would show how these domes can be transformed for your kid's personality or your kid's taste, and how it's something that you wouldn't mind having up in their room for 10 days on end, or even in the living room for 5 days on end?
Or 6 months.
Oh God, is it that long? Is this what?
I mean, the structure that recently stayed in my living room was, I think, there for like 3 or 4 months. I just took apart.
Wow. I mean, that's great for product longevity. As a parent with a limited home space, I'm like, interesting. I guess we don't need a dining room.
You can build it around like a mattress that your kid sleeps in, and you know that could be their little bed chamber.
That is so room. When I was a kid, I always wanted a canopy bed, so that would have really sold me. So like, yeah, like I'm wondering if it's
almost furniture.
It is furniture, and like, how do they sell kids furniture? And it's so much about personality and the space in the room. So it's should there be like, I know you were getting a bunch of like videos and images of this thing created. Can you digitally alter the images and videos that you've had created to just show someone who loves clouds and what they could turn this into, someone who loves unicorns, someone who loves dinosaurs, someone who loves glitter, like what a kid's individual version of this might be? Can that be a video?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had planned on doing, a series on, decorating and, inhabiting your creations and creative ways to, either paint or draw or decorate on the surface, or even make your own cutouts in the cardboard. I was thinking of selling decals on the website that you can put on the plain panels and then like color in like your own coloring book pages and sell lots of different decals that you can then take and customize, or even like a mailbox slot with the things that says mailbox. And all you have to do is have to cut out the little rectangle and kind of give kids and parents a little bit of, you know, that spark of imagination, and like you can pick and choose which decals you want to then put on your product.
There's like an emotional, when you're saying that parents cried or got emotional when they had to take it down like this, or families cried, that is what we need to tap into for social media. Like that is like what is that? And I would want to survey those families and figure out like, what was it? What made you so connected to it? How did you feel while building it? What was your favorite part? Was it building it, decorating it? Yeah, I want to know more. I feel like we need to survey more. And if you've had all these play tests, why are all these people not on your email list? What?
God only knows.
Oh my goodness. You have to get them all on your email list. Like that is the main
People
focus.
don't want to sign up for emails.
So I think it's really, what are you offering them? Like, what are you giving them to sign up? And that's where I feel like the 20% off, like if you're telling people this is going to retail for anywhere from $100 to $200 or $100 to $150. But if you join this list, you will get a coupon for 20% off that will be valid until 2020. I don't know, whatever timeline you want to give, but you do want to give a limit to it. But you will get 20% off coupon to use on our pre-order. Okay. I think that will motivate people. That's a huge percentage when something's such an expensive price. So you might just not be giving them what they want.
Yeah. I don't think there's been many eyeballs that have even seen my posts, to be frank.
Yeah. So we want to start in person, and then we want to, I feel like starting in person will give you the motivation to say, okay, people really do like this. Maybe I could multiply this online. So Neighborhood Toy Store Month.
Yeah. This is also where I'm kind of thinking I need to hire a marketing professional to just kind of take the lead on this, because clearly I'm not that great at this.
Well, okay. So the most benefit that I've found, I've had two experiences. Like one, I did have somebody posting for me, and that didn't do as much as having somebody engage for me. And they weren't a marketing professional. It was literally me. I actually built a what would you call it? Like a canned response document of like things I would say to certain posts or things. And then I gave them hashtags to research. And every day they would go in and they would find posts about people posting about the toy industry or whatever, and they would comment for me. And at one point I'd forgotten that I hired them to do that because they were doing something else, like with the podcast. And I was like, why are all these people commenting and messaging me all the time? Like, where are these people coming from? And I realized it was because they were going into people's pages and commenting and engaging. So I really do think that was a really good idea I had that I forgot about. And it actually created a lot of engagement on my page. That plus the posting of whatever I was posting at the time, videos. Yeah. But even if you do just one a day, and even if it's just like the slideshow videos that you have, like if you had those videos and then you did a talking head of you that was green screened over the thing being built, and you just say, hi, my name's Carrie, and this is the thing that I created, and you don't use geodesic, and you say like, you can build this like a beautiful fort in 30 minutes with the help of your parent that can last for weeks. You can create your own little space. Parents cried when they had to take theirs down. If you want to know more, link is in my bio. Like something really short, and you can just create simple videos that are not perfect and not beautifully designed, and then hire somebody to be engaging with other accounts to make sure that those videos get seen. But you can also hire somebody to post those videos for you. So you're just recording, they can edit, they can post. So that person could have those two jobs, to post and engage.
Yeah, I'm so camera shy. It's really hard for me to make these videos. I don't know.
You could make now with AI, you can make an animated version of yourself. Like, so once I had somebody, and it's on my website, thetoycoach.com, I had someone draw a character version of me. And this was before AI was big. And recently I'm like, oh, I should animate that character, because there's all these apps now you can use to just animate their mouth and their eye. So if you were open to that, you can have an animated version of yourself who would be popping up and talking in all the videos. And whoever you hire could do that without you. They could render a voice that doesn't even have to be your voice. And you could just give them a script and say, I want it to say this, here's the character, and then just make it.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Have you seen my baby video post on like baby podcast? So like on my Instagram, there were a couple of posts where it was like my podcast clip, but it was like me as a baby, and everybody thought it was because I was pregnant and I was obsessed with babies, and that's not why. It was because there was a trend that everybody was doing this. Everybody was turning everything into babies because babies are cute and everyone loves babies. So they were turning like popular podcast clips into baby versions of those people.
Yeah.
And so I go to my assistant who edits all my podcast stuff, and I said, hey, I have no idea how to make this. Can you make me a baby clip? And she did it in like seconds. And all she needed was a recording of me saying whatever I was saying about my podcast. She had ChatGPT create a baby version of me. So we uploaded a photo of me, said, make this a baby version. And then there was another app, which I still don't know, that animated that baby. And she uploaded the audio and the picture, and then it just animated the baby saying the things. So it could also be that simple, and you don't have to do any of it. You can hire somebody.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. I feel like did I
maybe
send
not the
you my
baby, but just having a virtual character.
Like whatever the characters that would represent your brand. I sent you my hiring process, right? I feel like we talked about this once.
You sent me a link to the Philippines site.
Online.ph, but then the hiring process that I used there doing that, and this, like, they can cost anywhere from $5 to $15 at most dollars an hour. $5 an hour is normal. 15 would be like they are super fluent in English. They've been working for like top tier pros in the past, and now they're going to work with you. But typically it's like $5 an hour.
Okay.
But that's it. Okay. Let me ask you my closing questions, please.
Okay.
What do you hope to achieve 1 year from now with Design Laughter?
I would love to see photos of kids and families using my kits in the wild, building, laughing, connecting. And I want sales, but more than that, I want to know that I've made something that brings beauty and creativity into your home.
Oh, that's nice. That's so lovely. We got to make that happen. And what toy or game blew your mind as a kid?
Oh, Legos for sure.
Lego. Oh, that's so fitting.
I used to spend hours building like random things with Legos that were passed down from my brother. Yeah. And these weren't the like modern cutesy Lego sets with animals and cute characters, and they were just, simple bricks and hinges and wheels, and there were no rules, there were no instructions. I just, was creating like random stuff and just loving it. It really shaped how I think about, space and design, and unlocked something in me.
I would want you to look back on how you first engaged with Lego and see if there's anything you can take from there for your kit. Like, as a kid, how did it first capture your eye? They're so much smaller. I think it was
just the open-ended design, It's like I could make anything.
Right. Yeah, yours isn't quite so open-ended. Interesting. Oh, Carrie, this has been such an inspiring episode. If you're listening to this episode and you haven't already gone to designlaughter.com, please do. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey, being so open with the process of creating your own toy product. We talked about your real challenge, but I feel like we're going to keep talking about it in our remaining time in the accelerator and through our TCA monthly calls, as long as you attend those, because there's still so much work to do in getting your product launched. If we do neighborhood toy store or maker fair, there's just so much. But hopefully by September we can get your pricing finalized and you can move forward feeling confident that you've chosen the right factory regardless of tariffs. Hopefully. Yeah. And Carrie, before we close out, please share with us where people can connect with you and learn more about Design Laughter.
Yeah, so you can find me on my website at www.designlaughter.com, all one word, and at Design Laughter on Instagram and Facebook.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Carrie. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Azhelle. This has been a pleasure.
Yay. Now, if you're someone who cares about design, giving kids real long-lasting toys that will inspire creativity and some education aspects, and you want to build a toy business with heart, I really hope that Carrie's journey made you feel seen and aligned, like there is a space for you in this industry and maybe inspired you to take your next step. Now, if you love this podcast and you haven't already left a review, what are you waiting for? Your reviews keep me and amazing guests like Carrie coming back week after week. And every time a new review comes in, I get excited. I call my mom, I call my sister, I call my husband, I call my friends, and it puts a huge smile on my face to tell everyone that I'm a successful podcaster. So please, if you're listening, if you're a guest on this podcast at this moment, leave a rating and review. Leave a rating and review. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know your time is valuable and that there are a ton of podcasts out there, so it really means the world to me that you tune into this one. Until next week, we will see you later, toy people. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Making It in the Toy Industry podcast with Azhelle Wade. Head over to thetoycoach.com for more information, tips, and advice.